Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of the 140th Anniversary Invitational, organized by the New Jersey State Chess Federation, a very beautiful initiative to celebrate 140 years of chess in the state. And I think it's really nice to see so many strong grandmasters having been invited to compete in this event. You may have watched my stream yesterday. I went over the games from round 1. Today, round 2 has started not long ago. I waited for a few more moves to be played before getting in to share that with you, to share the games and more about the tournament. So it's very interesting. It was very interesting to learn by me that the New Jersey State Chess Federation was founded in 1885. Obviously, they're celebrating 140 years, and in honor of that, they have put together this tournament inviting 10 of the most prominent grandmasters in the New Jersey, New York area who have had an impact of development of chess there. Those grandmasters are Grandmaster Oliver Barbosa, Grandmaster Maxim Delugi, Grandmaster John Fedorovich, Durabek Kamrakulov, Alexander Lenderman, and Mackenzie Molnar, Mark Paragua, Michael Rode, Alexander Strapunsky, and Andrew Tang. All of these very strong grandmasters, born or dedicating a lot of their life to continuing to promote chess in the area. Hi there, my name is Legion. Yes, chess was invented way longer than that. It's just the New Jersey State Chess Federation is one of the oldest that we have in the United States, and their work has been quite impressive. I'm specifically thankful to the organizers, Mr. Anand, Mishra, and Aaron Kiedes, for inviting me and having me here comment on this event, and everyone else behind the scenes who make sure that the games are shown. You get the DGT of everything. No issues, hopefully throughout the entire event. I'm very thankful for that. And without further ado, I think we should get into the games because, okay, sufficient time has passed that we actually have some openings we can talk about. And anytime you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I will gladly answer to the best of my knowledge. I'm just sick. That's how I sound. I am just a little bit sick. Hopefully we'll recover. Hopefully my streams will not always be when I'm not feeling the best, but I am feeling the best when I'm here. So, I gladly do that. All right, so let's get into the game. So on this game, we have Grandmaster Michael Rode. Very strong grandmaster. I think his peak was close to 2600, and then playing against another very familiar name to many of us right now, focusing most on coaching, but has won many strong tournaments, Grandmaster Alexander Lenderman. So it looks like Alexander has prepared the French for this tournament. This is the second time we're seeing him playing the French. Yesterday against Mackenzie Molnar, he has started with the French as well. So what do we have today? We have the Rubinstein variation. Knight takes e4, knight e7, pretty typical here. There's some other lines. I know people have tried with bishop d7 and then bishop c6, or sometimes putting the knight in f6 directly. Sorry, allowing for the trade. But I think knight d7 is probably the most flexible one, waiting a little bit to see what's white's response will be, which knight f3 is of course very natural. And now when the knight goes to f6, the idea is when capturing, which actually happened in this game, the other knight is ready to recapture. That way, you know, white traded, you know, a central knight for one that was just developed in d7. It's not the end, it's not a huge, you know, success for black, but I would say it is somewhat of a success. c3 was played, I see. Bishop d3 can be played just as a, you know, small move order change, and maybe still keeping the option open to potentially go c4, though most of the time in these kind of pawn structures with the d4 pawn remaining isolated, white typically keeps the pawn in c3 first, keeping it protected, and this pawn also supports, of course, a nice outpost for the knight in e5. And then if ever something like this were to happen, of course, we can recapture or not. I mean, we can also keep the pawn there. We can play c3 and keep it there, like if you take c10, c pawn takes. But I guess the move order maybe didn't matter. So if this were to be played, right, black would castle, and then maybe knight e5. And then here I believe we have to take. Hi there, Chisriddle, welcome back again today. Hope you had a good rest last night. c5, castle. Yeah, I mean, this position is relatively, I would say, good for white. It's about equal, but I mean good is like he got some play. We'll have to see if any fireworks will happen in this game, but for now it starts as relatively nice positional approach by Grandmaster Road. He does have space. Yesterday was a bit of a struggle for him, in my opinion, with the way he came out of the opening, and it was hard to come through. But I think this is going to give him much better chances today. So we'll see how that game pans out. What did we have here? An Alapin, of course. Every tournament we have to see at least one Alapin between Grandmaster Mark Paragua and Mackenzie Molnar. c3, knight f6, e5. So this is a pretty standard line. Bishop c4. Now that is not the main move. d4 is usually what people play, and then after capture we see d6 quite often. And yes, this bishop eventually does go out to c4, but maybe in this position, not here. This is going to lead to a very interesting placement of the bishop. Of course, it's forced to go to c2, but then the whole idea is that black also wastes a bit of time with c4, and maybe eventually when we will push d4, we'll be ready for an en passant and then a queen recapture and focusing on a kingside attack. In every position you want to kind of be familiar with the ideas, right? Here, of course, the knight went away from f6, so black has to be mindful about the castling, how he's going to do it, because his king is going to potentially get under attack. Sorry about the rough day. What's new? What's new is that yesterday we had two decisive games. We had Grandmaster Andrew Tang winning against Grandmaster Michael Rode. And we also had another win between Max Delugi and John Fedorovich. Max had won that game as well. The rest of the games finished in a draw yesterday. So today is a new day, new openings, and different results potentially. We'll see. All seems natural, of course. White would love to just keep this pawn in e5. Like, I think if white could play here and keep the pawn there, they would. But I think in this situation, probably en passant would happen and then capturing in e5. So you don't really get to keep the pawn there as you wish. Castle, and now, okay. We have a pretty... I've seen this position recently. I wonder who played this that I saw it so... It must have been in some Grand Prix, I think. In the no, in the Grand Prix. It was in Grand Swiss, I think. You love rough days, okay. Well, Bishop g4 is unpleasant to many. So, but okay, we don't have time for h3, I think. I guess this is still theory. Is black gonna castle long? Yeah, I must have seen this. I must have seen this. You prefer black? Me too. I feel like I prefer black right now, but if white manages to somehow get these pieces out, I should be doing okay. But what is the... wait a second. Maybe we don't go with the d pawn. Maybe we go with b3. Get rid of the pawn from this side, then we will stay with the center. Okay, b3 might be my go-to break, I'd say. If we have that black c pawn gone, it's about +1 here. I see. Well, I'm not the best with giving you engine evaluations, so I would agree is better for white. I couldn't give you a number. I'm not good with guessing numbers and such, so that'll be on you guys to figure it out. I can occasionally turn on the engine and check, but right now I'm not sure. But I would love this thing to happen. So for example, like if castle, I would love something like this to happen, but black should not take, right? This would be bad, definitely bad. Not only you're helping open up this rook to put pressure on your king, but also you're giving white this power to push all of these pawns forward, get the knights out of there, and things would get very, very difficult. So rook e1 is definitely a nice start to ask black a question. Are you gonna castle long? But okay, we can wait. We can wait. In any world, could we play knight a3? I guess you could consider doing that, but it's a piece. It is a piece. It is a piece that you would be giving if you do go for that idea. So maybe we don't want to do that if you think about it. Maybe we should wait. No, I think b3 makes a bit more sense. b3, trade the pawn and then push, I feel that would be more helpful. Okay, did we have a Tarrasch here? Semi-Tarrasch? And an interesting move order. c5. And now, personally, I would recommend d5 all the way. But after knight c3, black took about 5 minutes, not 5, only 4.5, and went for the move d5. And now let's see, are we gonna look, are we gonna get some fancy things like that, or are we gonna see knight takes, or are we gonna see pawn takes? Which one is it gonna be? I'm really curious. We'll be back to that game. We don't know how long we will need to wait. Okay, let's see this one. Okay. Aha, this line. Kalashnikov. I'm curious how Grandmaster John Fedorovich is going to approach this. C4. Aha, he goes for C4. Yes. Okay, so this is a different line than the one a lot of people might be familiar with, which is knight C3. And the idea is you are allowing those knights to be chased away, and now you go knight d5. And then later you can play c3 to bring this knight into play like that, or go for c4. But Fed is saying, no, I'm going c4 directly. So if you're planning on chasing my knight away, actually, I'm not sure what's the best move, but I think I've seen people bringing the knight back here and then knight d5. So please correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm not the most familiar with the c4, but I've seen it being played. Bishop e7 was played. Okay, yes, of course, if you didn't play e6, we need to develop a new piece each time. Now the knight got chased. Knight a3. Bishop d3. Okay, bishop d3, he wants to have that covered so that eventually he puts the knight in the center. They had a perfect draw in this line. I know they played this, but I don't remember the full game. You're talking the Grand Swiss? Or you're talking in St. Louis? Yeah, you have to send me the... You have to send me there's... I've had some strange links being posted, so... You have to send me a direct message if you want to post any links. What do we think about this position? I choose white because I'm more of a positional player. And I like to play against backwards pawns and outposts. And so typical ideas from Sveshnikov 2 are also like this. We're bringing the knight to c2, right? But here you need to remember one thing, because I have played stuff like that before. And this is also an issue, because by playing c4 too soon, white also gives up the d4 square, and depending on how black places their pieces, they also might get access to d4, so you have to be mindful. This knight needs to go away from there to switch over the bishop on the diagonal. It's not going to be that easy to get it done. Oh, sorry. Hi. There. So this is the worst place piece. I think it's time to bring it into play. And then black's plays in these situations would be knight c5, of course, a5 to make sure that knight gets insured, b6, and eventually f5 will become a huge part of black's play. Now, obviously, with the knight here, we can sometimes capture, but might take a while. Okay, and lastly, let's catch up with... Oh, we already have an endgame in this game. What was it? This variation is very interesting, I gotta say. I think this is probably the best response to c5, I think. You didn't send me any PGN chess riddle. I don't know where you sent it. So this position gets a bit messy. Just copycat, and you want to go queen takes, but then you don't want to trade queens, so you resort to this move instead. Now e4. Just bishop e5 check, right? But I think I've seen someone play this really recently, and it was only leading to a draw, because pretty much when you're getting to trade that many pieces. Now, the interesting thing is going to be to see if Andrew's gonna play further for improvement. I mean, he could, because he's technically a couple of moves ahead than black. The king in e2 is well placed, in my opinion. This rook can come over here. Now, regarding the bishop, oopsie, not there. d1. Apologies. Now, regarding this bishop, I'm trying to decide if I want to fianchetto it in b2 or if I want to take it out to g5. I obviously wouldn't want to trade it because this is white's good bishop, so we definitely don't want to get rid of it just yet. Probably g5. Pushing the b pawn does weaken up a bit the c file, and with the rook there, we don't want it. But maybe we can even have ideas like this to put pressure on e5, and then maybe regrouping the knight. Just because the position is super symmetrical, and we have the tendency to say, oh, super symmetrical is going to be a draw, it doesn't necessarily mean it will actually end in a draw. There's still ideas to be played, so don't expect this game will finish that fast. At least I don't expect that. It's gonna be interesting to see how they play it out. Both players being very famous for their rapid, faster time control skills. So we'll see. You sent me that game yesterday. That was your game. That game you sent me yesterday, and it was a Caro-Kann or some, not Caro-Kann, but like, looked like a Catalan, Meran kind of thing. So I thought you were talking about the Sicilian. Never mind, all good. You didn't send me a new one. Maybe you wanted to, but click the link yourself to see. Maybe you think you sent it, but I'm telling you, you didn't send me anything. Don't worry about it. Okay, so how are we feeling about today's games? 5 games. Interesting openings. So we had here some... Actually, I don't even know what was the name of this opening. What does Lichess say about this one? The name of it, actually. I'm curious because I don't know how it's called. Kraus variation. Okay, Kraus variation. Alright, so we had a Kraus variation. We had here that Kalashnikov line from the Sicilian. Semi-Tarash waiting to see how this pawn is going to be captured, queen or knight. Actually, there was the move since we left off because I was only thinking that black was going to capture like that, but I guess he did take like this. We might get something similar to that other game. One moment, guys. Sorry, Chess Riddle, I'm not seeing your link. I don't know. It's fine, don't worry about it. Okay. Now, this is a different pawn structure than the Tang Delugi game. I'm trying to remember what's the move here. Bishop g5? I think bishop g5. e4 might be an option too. Because this will help white regain the pawn back. f7 is an issue. White's doing better here. Yeah, I got the message only chess. I did. I just can't. Oh, okay, but it's probably because I don't know. Oh, it looks weird. Yeah, okay, they traded. I remember this game. Actually, there were these kind of that kind of pawn structure that happened in the game, which would be nice if I could post it too, but it just look kind of weird that I'm not able to actually click a link. But basically that kind of pawn structure happens relatively in quite a lot of games. But that was more like a Taimanov, I think. It was not really the same because the pawn was an e6. And then later they went they went ahead and played d5. So I wouldn't say it's exactly the same game, the same pawn structure, right? So here the pawn is on e5 instead of e6. So some difference. Okay, so black follows through with typical idea for the Sveshnikov, which is getting this bishop traded for this one instead of you know, allowing the knight to take in e7. Not that white would have ever wanted to do that, but this is quite typical. Now, in some situations, and this kind of idea happens in the King's Indian too, where black puts their bishop on, like tries to trade that bishop, or in Old Indian, better said, when the pawn structure is blocked somewhat like that, right? So in those kind of situations, white is trying to avoid a trade and usually play this b3 early on to meet bishop g5 and bishop b2, but here white doesn't have that option. So now, of course, if b3 is played or something, it's gonna be just a little too late, right? Because black manages to trade the bishop, which is what they wanted in the first place, and now, you know, it's a pretty decent thing happening. But maybe we can come up with something good for white. Interesting. I definitely know we don't want to take. So we need to find a useful move for white. b3, okay, I suggested it, but I don't know. Like, this also, white didn't have time for that either. And that's a small problem. Not much happened here since we left off. And we're back to board one. From all of these games, do you guys have a specific one you want me to focus on more? You have questions about the players, the tournament? Grand Tour Final, okay. But yeah, but different opening. Chess Riddle, completely different opening. If anyone wants to see the game that Chess Riddle was talking about, you guys can, I can put it in the chat here. No worries at all. No worries at all. It was a nice game. That pawn structure from Taimanov is quite famous. Or, well, maybe not quite famous, but a lot of games ended an end game there, and relatively many draws, I'd say. So it's looks like black got the c5 and white does not plan on taking. I like keeping the tensions too, so I like Grandmaster Rhodes' approach in this position. Putting the queen in e2, bishop g5, and now rook a to d1. This rook belongs to either e1 or actually could stay here, because if we do retreat, end up retreating and putting the knight here, then we also have ideas with f4, f5. if we do put the rook in e1, if the knight is in e5, we sometimes have sacrificial ideas to take in f7, and then this pawn could be hanging if the bishop moves. So there are, you know, quite a few known ideas here, but we'll see if any of them happen. Aha. So black is waiting still, not showing his intentions, whether he wants to castle long or short. And now knight a3, interesting. I was gonna say I kind of expecting bishop a3, but maybe white didn't want to allow black's queen f4. And now, okay, you can trade there, but we don't necessarily care as much, right? Or do we? Wait, is there rook a4? No, king takes cannot be. Ah, but we can take here in between. And trying to trade the queens and then recapturing here. I think black would have a relatively good position. Knight a3. Looks somewhat more menacing, maintaining, you know, the ability to get this d4 in with tempo at some point if need be. Maybe even now, actually. So I like knight a3 a bit more. So the threat is to capture the pawn in c4. Since there's no way to defend it, maybe we can take. And of course pawn takes. Yeah, we got this b3, and yeah, this is the current position. Just trying to figure out if there's some... what ideas black could have in this position. Offer draw? Nah. I mean, why? Some people still want to win. Okay, so what have we had? Takes, e4. Ah, okay. So it's debating between e4 and bishop g5. I guess I got my answer. e4 it was. And I guess if this were to happen, probably my presumptions were right. But knight c6 was played. Bishop b5, bishop d7, bishop takes c6. I see. Do we anticipate pawn takes or bishop takes? Probably pawn. The only problem with the pawn, though, bishop, you're saying, is this move at some point will be very, very unpleasant for the knight. Bishop takes, so if I go e5, you might have knight e4. Okay. No, you might be right. I'm just trying to understand exactly if I want to take or push. Spinal Tap just, hey. Your invitation got lost in the mail. Oh no. That's not good. That's not good. I remember you're a strong player. I'm not remembering who you are exactly, though. Huh. Who's Dean? Hi there, sleeping. Not sleeping. I'm doing alright. Doing alright. Commenting on this anniversary, 140th anniversary event happening in New Jersey. It's pretty exciting, actually. The games may not show as much excitement yet, but I'm telling you, it's coming at some point. Just quite a lot of solid positions that we got so far in these games. Oh, he put the bishop in d2, not g5 as I was predicting, which we saw, but now b4. So I was thinking no b4. Well, clearly I need to work on my plans a bit better. I need to work on my plans better. So Andrew is going for this b4 idea, weakening his c file. I just said no, I don't think that should happen. Very clearly it should. Or at least I thought maybe some rook c1, but I guess you want to go b4 directly. It makes sense because now we're asking a question, where is it that you're going with the bishop? And actually, regardless of where you go, we can try to get more space on the queen side. Yeah, I was thinking of this move earlier when we were discussing this potential trade there. I just wasn't 100% sure how good this was. But maybe this and castle followed by rook e1, trying to go bishop g5, bring the other rook in. White has a bit of initiative here, which might be nice for him. Okay, so after 93, black did decide to capture, and now castle short. Okay, of course, if you're gonna capture, you cannot, under any circumstance, castle long. That would be a bit too much. Okay, now d4. It is New Jersey Legends. All of these players have had an impact on New Jersey state, either teaching or being inspirational figures. What do you mean? What do you mean it's not? It is. So you're from New Jersey. I've been to Princeton. I played there once, for a Pan American. intercollegiate. It was really beautifully organized. No comment. Okay. Was this the dream? What dream? Dream for what? D4? This was the dream indeed, yes. For white. And that's why I'm a bit surprised black let go of that c pawn that easily. We definitely want this bishop gone. No, but long castle wasn't... White played quite fast b3. So I guess, like, technically, if black wanted to try the long castle, they should have tried it here. Like, not waste time with e6. And after b3, just let that, you know, let that capture happen. There's one thing if you open the a file where the rook is already there, and one thing if you open the b file. So, I think something like this could have definitely happened. Testing? Yeah, he was trying to see whether white would push maybe the b pawn or the d pawn. I think it was. But at this point, like, I think if you castle long on b3 split, you're not probably gonna play e6. Maybe you're gonna switch your queen over, although you can't go there because you'll always be this. Maybe you put it in f6, and then you touch the e pawn. You know, you let them capture, but then, you know, this is gonna be hanging. Because I feel that black needs to try to take advantage of the fact that this bishop is in c2, not e2. And there's some pressure, but... yeah. Now it's going to be difficult for black to really reach the knight. Of course, with white, would love to get c4 in eventually, but not too soon. Right now, we're fine with the pawn here, restricting the knight, keeping that pawn protected. But eventually, we might. I'm just trying to see if we do something like this. Do we have any sacrifices? I'm thinking some bishop h7, knight g5 stuff. Bishop takes, knight g5. I feel like I could take it, and then take an f7. And then e6. I think that should be winning, right? I mean, if you go back, of course, we just... Actually, I can take with the bishop, and I'm up a pawn. So if you go bishop here, I was thinking of this idea. White seems to be dominating here, no? Likely. Likely, so rook d8. I'm anticipating some h3 personally. Okay, if they take that, I'm happy, of course. Because I got the bishop pair. Still looking for some attack. Queen comes to d3 is definitely giving white some nice vibes. Deep gift. Greek gift. There's a kind of a cute Greek gift there. We'll see if it happens after h3. Okay. So definitely castle. White has to try castling. I mean, we can take the bishop, but I just don't want to trade queens, I think. There's no need to trade queens in this position. That would just lead to, you know, fast equality. We can just castle, rook e1, right? We also are starting rook d1. It's not so easy for black. Interesting choice. So you know how I was saying b3, but this is basically saying, you know what, if you want to trade your bishop, feel free to trade it for my knight. I presume he wants to take with the bishop, not the pawn. No way he would take with the pawn here. With the bishop. We're controlling that square. We're also looking towards b6, which is a hole in black's position. Rook c1, a3, b4, and stuff. Yeah, looking good for the Fed. Looking good for now. Out of all these games, which ones of these games would you guys say is going to be decisive? Is there any one of these games that will be decisive? All of them look relatively balanced for now. This one you think will be decisive? Or the Fed? The Fed one. Got it. No, I think this will be decisive. This will lead to an IQP position. And I think it will be decided. I don't know in whose favor, but I have a feeling this will be decisive. Uh-oh! h3 happened, my friends. h3 happened. Are we gonna see bishop h5, or is Grandmaster Mackenzie Molnar going to go for bishop takes f3? That's gonna be an interesting one. Time-wise, Mac is not doing that good. At the moment, he's not doing great. I mean, okay. So the time control for the tournament is 1 hour 30. And sudden death 30. So 1 hour 30 for 40 moves, and then sudden death 30 minutes with 30 seconds increment from move 1. Okay, we'll be back. Excitement. The gift may be on the way. Maybe I will receive some gifts finally after so long. And here castling, I'm actually, how long has white been thinking about in this position? Okay, 5 minutes is not that much. There's not that, I mean, okay, the two big options are, of course, do we get the bishop or do we castle? In a way, you want to go castle, but if I'm not mistaken, Grandmaster Oliver Barbosa is more of he's a more of a positional player, I think. I could be wrong. I think he's a more of a positional player. But if you're a positional player, you're going for the initiative because you love that. Although attacking players get maybe... Okay, when you're a Grandmaster, you know, all your senses are well developed. Please, don't get me wrong here. Not trying to... I'm just like, in general, no. Sometimes we have to generalize. It's not ideal, of course. We would be great to just have specifics for every single person. But sometimes we... is an innate thing, I think, for people to make generalization statements, which at times cannot be ideal, but initiative is a huge part of what I enjoy in chess, I think. Is because I remember growing up, I was struggling with figuring out how to attack. I always wanted, I was seeing these brilliant games and I always wanted to attack, but you know, initiative is just something that I always wanted to get better understanding of. Because it's very easy, same as in life, a lot of us can become very materialistic. We want to just take all this material and we don't understand the power of having positional advantage, because that one will actually materialize into something material later. You know, it just takes time. It's going through a longer process, but once you get that, you know, final thing, it's huge. So it's just the importance of understanding the initiative is very like valuable for a chess player, I think. From the time that they, you know, someone learns to play chess, they have to be taught the material is not always everything. Now, when you first start, it doesn't matter. Material is everything you care about. But as you grow to really understand this beauty of the game of chess, positional advantages become something to be cherished, I think. No more moves, actually, in these games. None of them. Here. So after rook d1, bishop d7, 95. I like 95. And now we need to make a decision. Now, black managed to get the bishop there, which is one of Fischer's ideas. Bringing the bishop away from the rook, so the rook now is opened, doesn't block any of the other pieces, so the other rook can be developed. And the bishop actually protects f7, which is very nice, because all sacrifices will be not working anymore now that the bishop goes there. Takes. So finally, white has decided they don't want to give black the opportunity to create an IQP for them. So probably queen takes, I'm presuming, right? Bishop takes f6. So we're waiting for this move to be played. Yep. And now maybe rook e1. Just to super strengthen everything. We need to be careful not to lose something on that. But I don't think anything is happening there. Maybe black can ensure their queen in c5. It's not so easy to gain advantage here with white. Of course, some rook lift ideas would be nice, but it's not easy to do. It's not an easy idea to do with the queen. You need to maybe like queen f1. It looks a bit sus though, no? Go queen f1 to get the rook. Nah, this can't happen. Also, technically, we could go king h1 and f4, f5. That could be an idea as well. That way, the bishop in g5 will also be protected, and maybe this could be nice. We'll be back to that game. Ah, no gifts for us today. I mean, it makes sense. Grandmaster Mackenzie Molnar is a big tactician, I would say. So, of course, he's not gonna fall for it. Would have been nice for us, the viewers, but they're not going there for they're not playing this tournament for content, right? You know what they say, sacrifice for content. No. This is serious chess, guys. Very serious. So I'm sure he's seen that is not really going to work very well for him. So he had to make the decision to give up the bishop pair. But now white has a slight advantage. How he's going to be able to put it into practice and take advantage of it and utilize this bishop remains to be seen. But this is definitely one of those games to look for. No moves on this one. Okay, this is a bit surprising because it's been more than 10 minutes on that game. And more than lots of minutes here since we got a move. So my suggestion is I'm gonna take like a short break. I will leave you with one of the games if you let me know which one you'd like me to leave you with. As I take a short break. And I will be back after I refill my tea. I'll be back shortly after the break. So maybe I'll leave you with this game because this is quite interesting. Slight advantage for white to see how white will continue placing his pieces. And we'll see on the other side of the break. All right, everyone, we are back. I see we didn't miss too much of the action on this game, but I think lots of interesting things are about to happen soon. So let's catch up again from the first board and move up or move down from there, better said. Anyways. So looks like a couple more moves have been made in this game between Grandmasters Michael Rode and Alexander Linderman. When we left off, Black was just capturing in c5, and I was suggesting moves like king h1 or rook e1 to try to find a way to support the knight in e5 to make sure we keep it there. With the bishop in e8, it's hard to imagine that we'll have any sacrifices happening, so pretty much we'll have to be looking at how to support it. But now c4, a5, and now a3 was played. I'm not sure now if I like this idea by white, because of course a5 is kind of supporting the queen in c5, but a3, playing a3 without like being able to play b4, I think would be causing some trouble after some a4. And a4 would stabilize the pawn structure, and then b5 would be played, trading everything, and then this pawn would remain backwards. Now h6 was played here. So now, okay, do we go back? Well, we can go here. Do we go back to c1, or do we go bishop d2, bishop c3? Bishop d2 also could be supporting some b4. Okay, maybe h6 is just helping. Maybe h6 might be just helping white to get the bishop on a better square. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's a helpful move. And position is still about equal, I think. Not much. Not much has changed. Here, we left off after the castling, and d4, rook d8 was played, h3, bam bam, and h4. I find the move to be like really kind of cute, because obviously, for those of you who haven't realized yet, this move is exactly what white is looking forward to be able to meet it with one of these two moves, queen e4 or queen h5, and then heat up, not heat up, double attack to both h7 and h4. So that's out of the question to capture the pawn, and without pieces and with little space to be able to bring pieces to attack white's king, white can afford to push that pawn forward. Plus, they got the two bishops. The bishop pair looking towards black's king. The queen here covers c3. Of course, this knight is not so well placed, but it will come. Its time will come to be brought into play, probably via c4, e5, or c4, e3. And I think white's definitely going to focus on a kingside attack. Next board, what did you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much. Just catching up with the game. So castle was played indeed, followed by bishop e7. I'm though surprised, for both sides have spent relatively a lot of time in this position, because like white in this position had 1 hour and 8 minutes to go to 52 minutes. Like, spending about 15 minutes here seems a bit drastic. What am I missing? Is he trying to decide how important it is to capture? Is there a line he was calculating that I'm missing here? I mean, some check? No, there's b5. I'm not really sure what he could have. Because black also, see, he was on 105, and it took him like... $105, right? 20 minutes to play this one, bishop e7? What else was there in this position? Bishop takes f6, maybe. But okay, of course white's not going to capture like that. There's this check that captures the bishop with the queen. Now that pawn is hanging. So if you're not going to go bishop e7, then what are you going to move this bishop? Maybe he was considering moving the bishop somewhere back. Okay, probably not c6 because the rook e1, but maybe bishop e6. That could be a potential response here for black. It's not so easy to... But you already moved that bishop, so unless it's attacked... Okay. I wish we could ask them. I wish you could just, like, hey, why did you spend so much time? Sabina, the judgmental. I'm sorry. I just trying to understand myself. You should see some of my games when I spend 20-30 minutes thinking of my move, and then I look back and I'm like, wait, where did the time go? Why did I spend so much time? I was decided to play this in 5 seconds. I spent 30 minutes for nothing. What was I thinking about? Okay, so we had some development here after the bishop g5 idea. White blocked the trades of the bishops. Okay. I like a3, holding on, not rushing with b5 too soon. You see, the only problem now for having traded those dark square bishops is the fact that black will have that outpost for the knight, which I'm not happy about. Trying to decide where I want to put my queen. What is a good placement for white's queen? Like, ideally it should be a dark square, but... And you're looking on the board and you're not. Maybe e3? Maybe white can bring the queen to e3. If we get it here, covers dark squares, keeps this pawn covered, looks towards b6. e3 could definitely be a placement towards the queen. So we can just go queen e2, e3, or d2. Queen d2, e3, something like that. Actually, there's a threat, so I cannot just go randomly. They want to take and take, potentially. So maybe I should go queen d2, e3. I feel that this is the placement for the queen. If we're looking for one. And last but not least, okay, so Andrew has played that before that I wasn't a fan of. Okay, brought the knight to f5, sure. But okay, this knight just gets chased away and then black redevelops the bishop, and then what? Now black manages to trade this bishop. I'm not happy. Why did this happen? You know, like, that is black's bad bishop, so if you can keep it as such on the board, it's going to be an annoying piece. But you know, after rook c1, but what else could he have done? He doesn't really have a good spot for this knight. Bishop h6 is inevitable, which means black will be able to get rid of their bishop, either for the knight, or if you move the knight, then the bishop in d2. Yeah, okay, fine, for the knight. But I'm not a fan of this situation now. Okay, it's not worse for white or anything, it's just... I'm not happy. Hi, Steven. How are you doing? Should we play g3 here? I feel like g3 might be an idea. Normal day so far. That's good. How's school treating you? G3 GG? Why GG? No GG. I mean, I'm not... No, I think we can just move this knight probably. Aladdin! How are you doing? I'm alive, thank God, for now. Let's hope. I've been traveling too much. I've been sick. This life is unpredictable. It's too fragile, guys. I think knight d1 is an option too here, Steven. Right? Because if you go knight f4, I was thinking to just take it. Okay, I mean, if you think it's forcing, what about f5? You forgot knights can move, okay. You're stuck to dice, you're still thinking about dice chess or something. Oh, talking about that, Steven, if you could please ask your parents to respond to my email, that would be appreciated. I think I sent it to your mom. Four knights can move. What a request. No, no, it's not. It's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong. Don't worry, nothing is wrong. Should we go for a4? A4, a5? Nah, I don't like it. Working on a very detailed compilation of positions. Wait. Are you talking about you want to publish them or to send? If you want to send them, you don't need to annotate, no. If you want to If you want, you can. Is king d3 legal? It is. I just don't like it because, like, you just get out of there on the spot, like with one of these checks. I don't know, whichever, this or that. That's why I just... It is legal, but it's not a something we necessarily want. My thing is, like, black is just getting extra space. Knight of 6. I thought white was the one who's getting extra space. How did it get from this extra space? Provoke FE. No, well, black is not gonna take FE anytime soon until they're gonna win material. Because this capture, like, okay. This capture, I'm just gonna put it, this is a mistake for black, okay? Don't do it. After knight... No, but like, Steven... No, I'm... okay, never mind. I'll send another email. No, but like when he played the b4, he was getting extra space. This position is much better for white. There's much better pawn structure. Much better. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Are you still talking about this position? Okay. G3. F5 I don't like. So basically what happened in this game, I just wanted something simple. I wanted rook d1, bishop g5, bring the bishop here, bring the rook here, no touching the b pawn. That's what I wanted. Um... So he went bishop d2, then he went b4, but then he didn't follow through any of these ideas. So I'm a bit surprised to why he went here. I think he must have not realized that bishop f8, g6, bishop h6 after, that even if black wastes time, is still good for him. Like, or maybe he realized. I mean, what do I know? I don't know. Maybe he realized, maybe too late. Maybe he didn't think it was a big deal. But I'm just suddenly feeling that, okay, right? So black was just back with a lot of pieces, right? Just suddenly retreated. And then like 5 moves later, we have a knight ready to come to f4, this f5 pawn. Okay, that wasn't played, but knight h5, this is the position, but obviously f5 is happening. And black is the one pressuring here, and I don't know what white got. I'm a bit confused. Yeah, that's why, like, I think b4 would have been good if it was followed through with some other pawn pushes, but like this, it just seems a bit strange. It feels a bit strange. I would take it back if I could. In fact, you know what? Let's go a4, a5, a6 maybe too, and then b4. For us, it's hard to predict just riddle. For them, it should not be as hard. To predict. No, I think he just misjudged the position. I think he thought he would get enough moves. I mean, he's not lost, don't get me wrong. I'm not. That rook in c4 is very unpleasant. I mean, you can trade anytime. If you want to try to play further this position, and not just play for a draw, if you want to try to improve, you need to find some ways to. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have started with this, but if we do, maybe just try it with a4. It might be a draw. Who knows? Or it may not. Who knows? Because now, you know, this would be super exciting for white. Can we go b4? No, I think white is playing for a win. Well, to improve, not for a win. I mean, you know. Yeah, I don't know. You're saying knight b6? Yeah, definitely b3. And then we have a5, right? I mean, this would look nice for white. Okay, this bishop is a bit unpleasant, but I think if we go rook c, oopsie. Rook c1, knight e1, d3 could work to chase it away, and then we can push further. Okay, well, the current position is this. Oh, he went for knight b5. He didn't play g3. Okay. He's hoping for the trades, I think, here. A6 or something. Okay, this should be equal. What about a6? Maybe knight a3. Again, trying to force the trades. Okay, so this could peter out to a draw, potentially. after knight b5. But I feel that white could have tried to push a bit further. Mm. I was suggesting bishop d2. Bishop f4 is a bit different than what I had in mind. I had in mind to bring the bishop here to help with some potential, still some rook lifts eventually, I guess. It was wishful thinking. Bishop f4 maintains the knight, but yeah, this is a bit... Okay, I guess we can play bishop g3. What about bishop a4? It's kind of scary. The default becomes scary personally for me a bit. It's not too much yet because black doesn't get the opportunity to double yet, but this is not maybe rook e1. I'm not a fan of the bishop in g3, but white is okay here. I wish the bishop was in c3. I'm just looking for more attacking ideas. Okay. Catching up with the next board. Definitely knight c4 is coming. I wonder if it... Can he just bring it right now? Knight c4. You know you want to make that move. Yeah, there. As I was saying it was played knight c4. I mean, it's just... That's white's worst place piece. The rook in a1 is still... Okay, can be improved from there because the a file, you know, there's nothing to do there yet. But now the question is, okay, the queen moves back somewhere. Let's just say it goes to e7. Or, well, e7, there's a rook. Okay, maybe c7. Okay, so let's come up with a good plan for white to continue improving further in this position. Obviously, h7 is a weakness, but if we go queen e4, g6, I don't think is gonna cause any kind of problems. So should we start with h5? Should we try... Yeah. g4. I like h5, though. It's like, I'm looking forward to something like this. Then maybe I can go bishop e4 and then try to grab the knight. Where does he plan to move the queen? e7 still h5 outgoing. h5, bishop g5. We can also just play g3. I've seen people, you know, prepping for attacks a little bit longer. g3, we can go king g2. We can also go after that, like, bishop e4, threatening to take, knight b6. Doubling up on the e file. White is fourth choice in this position, definitely. Okay, queen c7. h5 is, I think, quite natural response in this position. There's no need to allow g6 stuff. You can just play it right away. Wait, so how did... Oh, he eventually took in d5. I guess the alternative was rook d1. So I'm not sure if there's a tactical way for white to try to hold on to keep black's king in the center a bit longer. So if we do this, where like queen e5, I guess, right, to make it with tempo. Queen moves somewhere, and then bishop g5. I mean, this will look nice for white. Okay, I'm definitely seeing something. Okay, rook d1. Let's come up with a different... Oh, bishop takes f3. Okay, bishop f3, there's queen a4 check, right? Bishop c6. Ah. We got a problem here, my friends. We need to be mindful about this. I don't think this should be a problem, right? White's looking good. Ish. Queen and a pawn for rook and a bishop. No back rank. No issues. Bishop g5 or bishop e3 next. Who comes into play? What was the reason why he didn't go for rook d1? I don't see it. I'm looking here like puzzled. I don't see something concrete. The bishop needs to move. So c6, e6, f3. But c6 we already saw. I feel that this is unpleasant. The whole point for white is to try to keep the king in the center. That's my bishop e6. At least this way. Okay, but there is no reason not to play this then, because okay, black has the bishop. The only reason not to play it, yeah, is I guess the black has the bishop pair. So if you feel that they will be able to remain with it and castle, then I guess it makes sense you may want to avoid allowing to get in this position, because you don't really want them to stay with the bishop pair. But so queen e4 check, bishop d7. Queen b3. I think white would have sufficient compensation here. Let me see what the engine says. Bishop e7. In this position it says rook d1. Okay, so it does say rook d1. It only gives 0.7. Bishop f3. Queen a4, knight. Okay. Okay, this is the line that I just showed you earlier. Knight e4. I guess I stopped the move to bishop e3. No big deal. It's covered. I think white could have played this, and he would have gotten potential chances for win. Now, he chose to go for this instead. It's okay if you think about it. I think it will be going for a draw after the trade. Yeah, I mean, a nice way to improve sometimes if you feel some positions are relatively equal or maybe a bit advantageous for someone. A nice way to try to improve and get better for yourself in your understanding and planning and things like that would be to try to save a bunch of positions like that and then play them against the engine and then just try to play them out and see. Practice your own positions. That's one way to put it, yeah. But this is not just a winning one. This is a better one. Winning ones are probably a bit easier to play. What have we missed here? Good night, bad bishop. Yeah. The bishop is not that bad, though. Here is not that bad, but yes, the knight is pretty strong. But at least he'll have some c5 break eventually, but yeah. Getting a favorite opening trap? Yeah, a lot of people suggest playing against the engine to improve. I mean, I just had recently a discussion with a friend who was suggesting to do that. Even like starting out from scratch with material down could be helpful. I haven't tried those myself, so I cannot recommend things that I didn't try. But if others have done them and recommended them, then you can certainly follow through with those. Could be helpful. I like to play usually positions where I'm slightly better, and I didn't do a good job at converting that game, because that can be certainly a helpful way to try to improve for the future, because very likely the reason people make mistakes, they don't quite understand positions, they don't quite grasp ideas, so it usually helps playing them out more so that you can grasp a bit more the ideas behind. Yeah, so here after rook a8 is to trade a pair of rooks. And the thing is, if you do trade, you cannot go rook a1, because then f2, I think, will be hanging eventually. I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to win it immediately, but because now maybe king g1. Ah, but wait, king g1, there's a tactic. Is there? Well, but this position should be definitely better for black. I've seen this going around too much. So basically that's what white needs to be careful about. Just don't trade everything to allow the opening of your king. Both players are kind of staying on mate, but you need to be mindful about it. Bishop f1. That's a nice way to try to get to trade the pieces later. Hi there, I'm Bob. How are you doing? Thanks. Good to be back. I'll be here the whole week, so be sure to tune in for this Anniversary Invitational. Rounds will start 12:30 and 6 p.m. daily until Sunday, when it's 10:30 and 4. So I'll be live every single round. slow day at work is always nice. How is black going to take advantage of his better knight than the bishop in f1 is the question. Eventually you do want to play some e4, but with the king in h1 at least there's no checks like in the line I suggested. I would say maybe you can play like g6, queen g5, f5, maybe something like that. Or maybe he can go for g... Oh, rook e8. Okay, I need a moment to understand the reason for that. Could be just a waiting move to see what you do next. Just hoping you'd play something like this, although now e4 doesn't work as the knight is hanging. I don't know. He's hoping rook a8 will happen and just pretends like he doesn't care that he's wasting a move. I would play g6. G6 seems like a really nice move, getting a new luft, putting a pawn on light square, supporting later some f5s. That would seem like a way to do. Okay. Is that a hint I should walk more? Wait, he actually came back to... I wasn't suggesting this. I wasn't suggesting king g1, but I guess he just wants to hold on to the position. I wasn't suggesting that because this hangs some checks here sometimes, like on this. Okay, maybe now g6 will actually be played, or g5. Okay, and... Okay, some more trades happen here. So we stopped after knight b5, looks like... Okay, I thought rook takes e1 was gonna happen, but okay. Black took the bishop first, and now this, and... If you take... You're gonna be in huge trouble, so you can't do that. King d3, shall we presume this move would be happening? Though there's no threat. But at least we control c2. I'm doing alright. Recovering from some kind of cold that I got. I'm not even sure when or why. You guys are right, this game could end in a draw. Eventually. Wait. Wait. No. No. But if you wanted to play b4, why didn't he put the bishop in d2? No, is he thinking he can go to b1? But I don't think he has time. Was he thinking he can go rook b1, rook b7? Or rook b1 and try to trap the queen? But I don't think he can, right? Because I just go here. And no, this is not possible, right? Because we just take and you just lose material. Yeah, Andrew Tang is playing, yes. This is the list of the players. All Grandmasters. Beautiful invitational idea to celebrate 140 years since the founding of the New Jersey State Chess Federation. And the players invited are all Grandmasters who've had an impact in the development of chess in New Jersey. It's gonna be a difficult game once again for GM Road. Tank without pre-moves is like Superman without kryptonite. I don't think that's what you wanted to say. I don't think that's a good. Are you saying he's more powerful without kryptonite? He should be more powerful, no? But we are not happy. We're not happy with his choice. I'm not happy with his choice. Moves. Oh, with kryptonite, you said. Oh my god, I read it wrong. Got you. You're right. You're right. I read it wrong. Oh my god. It's the fever. I'm gonna blame it on the fever. I'm gonna blame it on the fever. I read it wrong. I'm sorry. Okay. Sure. That makes sense now. Is not deadly position or anything like that, so you know. But I'm not happy with for Grandmaster Road's position here. I think G4 was too early. I'm not sure exactly what was the follow-up. I mean, it's gonna be difficult for him because I don't know. I should have checked when was the last tournament he played. He's been a very strong Grandmaster. I think his peak was close to 2600. At the time where that was like huge, like 2750 these days. He was very strong, but he's also an attorney, if I'm not mistaken, and these days he's a coach for Successful Academy, or I believe in the New York area, some Successful Academies. So I think there are a few. So you know, sometimes when you're focused on coaching, I think we're losing a little bit of our confidence, potentially. And when you lose confidence, you spend too much time on a move, trying to double check everything, and this is what gets a lot of people to enter time trouble. If you enter too much time trouble, well, you start making irrational decisions. I don't think there's a need for B4. I know he was trying to get some extra space, but maybe he can hold on, like, I don't know, double up on the file, maybe H3 can be a move to play. I think it was a bit too rushed. Oh, you guys. You guys are only looking at the rating. Rating is just a number, remember that. Just a number that shows form. And that's about it. It shows form. Oopsie, what happened? I pressed something. It shows form, and that is about it. All it shows. Okay. Well, that H-pawn has made his way. All right. I thought H5 was going to be played first. Okay, Queen E4. So he did allow the g6 to be played. I mean, g6 could have been played anyways, but yeah, it makes sense. Mm. Hmm. What is a good plan for white to follow up? I would have liked h5 earlier. See, h6 is so attractive, oftentimes, but it also kind of blocks down all kind of possibilities on opening up the h-file. So you're keeping the bishop somewhat restricted in h8 for a long time, but in the same time, it could be stopping potential advancement in the position. So where is he planning to bring the knight now? Like knight g4, knight e5, maybe. And I guess in case of a trade, he wants to take with the pawn. Follow through some rook f1 and switch over here, maybe. Interesting. Interesting idea here by white. Wait, long castle? Wait, I did not expect that. Okay, so I guess Grandmaster Barbosa was thinking, you know what? I'm gonna leave the queens like that. So he was fine with the trade. Now I can take the bishop takes, and then we have another position with bishop versus knight, but here the position is open. There's no outpost for the knight, so the bishop will be slightly better. Plus there's bishop e3. Doesn't white actually win a pawn here? Takes. And here? Think so, because this is hanging, this is hanging. So after rook e7, can you go here? No, right? Because we just take. You don't have time to mate or anything. So we're good. Then this is good. Bishop e3. Let's go play with an extra pawn. Okay. Maybe he didn't lose the advantage as much as I thought he might have. Because my suggestion, what was it here after bishop e7? I was suggesting to go rook d1, right? To try to kind of keep the queens. He chose to trade them, but indeed he would still have an extra pawn, active rook. Pretty decent if you ask me. Okay, so after king g1 here, let's see, g6. Okay, g6. Oh, too many pawns on white. Bit too many pawns on white. This cannot be goody. It cannot. So black is trying to get back the A file. I really think something on the king side would happen, because now white doesn't have any counterplay to create a pass pawn. Only counterplay would be to potentially kind of infiltrate with the queen or the rook and get that pawn and then create a pass pawn. But this might give white the ability to play f4, which scares me a bit. I guess maybe it doesn't matter, but white would love to create some new ways. If I got thrown, you're funny. Okay, so should black try to give a couple more checks, or maybe try to get to trade here? That seems to be the only other option. Maybe g5 to stop this, though that allows some activity. There's still some play for both sides, I'd say, in this position, possibly. There's still some play. It's not over. It is not over until it's over. Okay, so Grandmaster Road decided to go back. This simply allows black to remain up a pawn. So b4 has not helped. He must have had something in mind that involved potentially some knight move, but then he forgot. Maybe he was considering knight c6 here. No, I don't know what he had in mind, but this is not looking good for white. It's down a pawn. I don't see much compensation. So board 1 down a pawn, and this board white will try to find some way to put extra pressure on black's king. It's not going to be easy. Here I think white is winning a pawn after rook e7, bishop e3, as we discussed. Black's gonna be able to start taking advantage of white's bad bishop, basically all these majority blocked, king not doing so well. And then last but not least, this game, black might be trying for a win. Okay, time for me to take another short break. I will be back shortly. We'll leave you. Which game would you like me to leave you with? I feel like this could pose some trouble potentially. Nah. Maybe this game. I'll leave you with this game, and I will be back shortly, cutting the camera, and see you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, I am back. Took a bit longer. I forgot to give my cat the medicine that I had to give her. So that took a bit longer, but we're back. And looks like some spicy things are happening in this game. So we're definitely getting ready to consider. Literally, so I left here and then knight b4 was played. Mackenzie's trying to take advantage of some pins potentially, or maybe was hoping for, I mean, was not hoping, I mean, this is the reason why you cannot take, because rook takes d4 and you don't have a good square for the queen. But okay, you know what they say when you're just placing a piece hanging like that, if the opponent doesn't have to take it, then your piece might just end up being kind of hanging there, you know. So that is basically an issue. Bishop d1. This is a really nice move. Just kind of asking you a question, and I guess knight back should have happened. But Mackenzie didn't want to keep his bishop locked up, and he took. But is this sacrifice really a good sacrifice? I mean, the first instinct that we have is taking it, right? I mean, that's a free bishop. So rook takes, and he's trying to use the same tactical idea to get the piece. But is this really the same? Because now you sacked another piece. Can I just sack my queen? If I just move it, of course, I lose the bishop, so takes, takes, takes. And we have what? A rook and two bishops, or a queen and two pawns. So material-wise is the same. But... Hi there, Chess Lover. I was gonna answer something about that, but no, Hikaru's not playing this tournament. It's the 140th Anniversary Invitational, all Grandmasters round robin event happening in New Jersey. You can see the list of the players here. Maybe I should just pin this. Okay. Read Vegatron's answer. You guys. Well, technically, is New Jersey State Chess Federation? Is not U.S. Chess Federation? There's two different entities. So if we get into this position, white is I would choose the pieces versus the queen. I think the pieces would certainly be able to work with one another. Knight c4, bishop back to c3, other bishop to f3. This is just my... No, last move was here. Bishop takes d4. We're waiting to see. We're waiting to see what he's gonna do. And I agree with Magnus. Actually, when I learned to play chess, I learned the queen is worth 10. Took me some adjustment. When in the US they were saying it's 9. I also learned it's 10. Well, I didn't learn it's 10. I learned that the queen is worth 2 rooks. So, you know, technically 10, right? I'm pretty sure I learned it that way. I will have to ask my dad about it. What exactly he taught me. You should remember, right? But no, I mean, here, after bishop takes d4, if you don't go for the line to sack the queen, then you basically lost a pawn. I don't see any other option. So you're either gonna take or not. The players are getting low on time, which is scary a bit, as they need to reach move 40 to get the additional 30 minutes. So I came back at the right moment when all the players are getting in time trouble. Okay, this game looks like white ran out of time. Maybe they drew. The results don't always show, so I will have to answer to ask, which I will ask. Carlsen's queen? No, the queen is actually worth 2 rooks. So you would say he would choose that position with the queen? I'm not sure he would choose the queen in that position necessarily. I'm not sure. Ah, okay, you're talking equal positions. Never mind. Okay, what's going on? Wait a second. Where are we? Okay, we got some changes in this game. Rookie on. You guys trying to figure out who's more right? How about we figure out who's more right about the chess game? The chess games shown here, guys. No disrespect to your conversation, but yeah, let's focus on this for a bit. So bishop g3. And no more moves. I wonder what is wrong. Why are there no more moves? Why are people spending so much time? I haven't had an update in these games for a while. Uh-oh. There's some technical error. They have some technical error. Okay, we can have a conversation about Magnus then. Or not. What's going on? What's going on with all these talks today? Okay. So we're not getting moves. So we don't know what's happening. This game could have been... Because... wait, actually, he played bishop g5, now bishop e3. I was suggesting bishop e3, right? But bishop e3... Rook d7 takes, and then takes the pawn. And then, okay, white is up a pawn. It's not easy to win, but he went for bishop there. But here, can't white take, and... I guess you're not losing a pawn here, but... Wait, what have I said? Are you guys unhappy with my commentary? Like, what's going on here? What is going on? I'm just saying. I didn't think you wanted to draw. I was just asking because it looked like you lost some time, but now I know it's a technical difficulty. I'm just assuming here, guys. I'm just waiting to hear when they fix the leeches. You know? Vagatron's comment is kind of hilarious. Listen, I'm just... You don't envy me? Well, you shouldn't. There's a lot of things you don't know about me. Okay, I mean, I'm just saying this rook endgame can easily go any way. Most likely two ways. Either white is winning or a draw. The pawn structure is messed up. I just don't know what happened. I would have liked to take a pawn, but maybe this endgame is better. It gives white better chances, you know. I've seen quite a few people losing this pawn structure because basically you can try to infiltrate with the king, and eventually black's gonna lose some material. But yeah, I guess we're kind of stuck right now. Thought I'm coming at the right time, but okay. So do you guys have any questions about the tournament? Anything else? Which pawn structure? The pawn structure, the rook pawn structure is definitely in white's favor in that one, yeah, after doubling the pawns, that's for sure. And by the way, you know, chess is for everyone. It doesn't matter what your rating is. Don't put yourself down. You can always learn and get better. Like, the most interesting position would be this one to see what's going on, because, you know, uh-oh, your rating matches your bank account. Sorry. Wait, what piece up? There's no... All material is equal until we go for this line where we have to sack. Because, like, if you go here, they just take and, you know. I don't think you want to play this position. I'd rather play this one. Queen f6. What am I, a knight? It's fine, just lower, it's fine. Maybe we're all under the weather. Rook d2, knight c4, queen f6. Wait, what? Oh, here queen f6. Yeah, no worries. This is safe. This is safe. Very safe. Nothing to do. Nothing. You don't have sufficient manpower. Okay, you can play this position, but don't forget you're down 2 pawns. Well, maybe not. Now you have what? A rook for knight and 2 pawns. Queen f6, queen d4. No big deal. It's definitely some interesting position, but I would choose the other one. I feel like white is actually better in the other one, in the queen sacrificing idea. Okay, you guys are going. You are calculating a bit too much. Too much. I don't know what you're saying, guy. Your analysis doesn't. You sack everything. You cannot sacrifice all your pieces. No, no, no. No, but now we're basically in an impasse here because we have no moves updated. So these games can be over actually at this point. You can sacrifice everything if it's mate, of course you can, but yeah, it's not mate. It is not. Don't forget to check out New Jersey State Chess Federation. With their upcoming tournaments, they have a Scholastic Championship, and they have the World Amateur Team taking place in February, and it's always a fun tournament, I'm told. I never actually competed in one of those, never had a team. I mean, I was asked a few times, but it was too expensive for me to go. So, you've been sick for a week? Yeah, I'm getting there soon, too. I don't know what I got. I think I got sick when I went to check my cat. I can bring my cat. The poor baby is sick. She got an infection. She has to wear this collar that she doesn't like. I know. She's still a cutie. It's just she's struggling. Both of us are struggling to get better. Bonded in sickness. Or bonding in sickness. If that can happen. I never thought Regina would come by herself to me and actually stay with me. She usually doesn't do that. She didn't do that before. But now she does it all the time, so I'm feeling good. Regina, you want to say hi? Regina? Hi, Regina. She's sleeping. But since we don't have much to discuss at the moment, we will bring her to say hi to you guys all. Hey, Regina. Come, Regina. Let's go say hi to the kids. Let's go say sweet baby. Okay. Oh, poor baby. You're sick, I know. I know, but I gave you treats. Let's give you like a thing here. Okay, and then you can come here because you're more comfy. Okay. We got a sick baby here. Oh. Say hi just really fast to everyone. Oh. She's recovering. She is recovering. But yeah, 2 sick people. Well, 1 person, 1 cat, but yeah. Oh no, we already got the results. So we have the results, but I don't know when we'll get the games. Do you guys want to know the results? The only game remaining seems to be this one. Yeah, Regina is strong, but the infection on her paw was kind of scary. Okay, so looks like we may not get the games, but maybe I'll get the score sheets, and if I can read the player score sheets, then we will be able to know what's going on. If I get them in the next few minutes. If not, I'll stop and get back to them later. The Rook Endgame, yeah, that game finished in a draw. Alexander Lenderman has won. Okay. Are you okay, Reggie? You gonna stay here? Hmm? She's staying here for now. Alright, so let's see what happened in this game. Bishop G3. One second. Bishop G3 was moved 25. Something E5. Knight H5. Knight F3. Rook takes E4. Bishop B3. Sorry, I'm just putting the whole game so I can actually look at this, otherwise I'll lose track. I don't know what was the move here. Queen D1, Queen C5, and maybe he lost some time. This is basically how the game went. And Alexander Lenderman won. So basically, H5 was a nice way to push the bishop away. The whole idea, I think Grandmaster Road got in too much of a time trouble, and it was difficult for him to come up with a good play. He has this nice idea with b4, but there wasn't a way to actually get the pawn back, so it was kind of unpleasant. Now, if you have to retreat to the knight, because obviously h4 is threatened, yeah, now it's just very difficult to come up with stuff. Rook c3. Okay, traded that bishop, but now he's down 2 pawns, so okay. The rest is just, let's just see if I can save this. If I copy, download game. I'm not sure if I downloaded the whole thing, we'll see. To make sure the whole game is saved there, yeah. No, it didn't get saved. Okay, well. One second. Yeah, it doesn't get saved. The extra moves don't get saved. Okay, that's fine. So that was the one game. So I won't be able to keep these moves here, unfortunately. That's what I'm saying. And so Grandmaster Lenderman won this game. Okay. It was kind of a tough one for Grandmaster. I thought he had a relatively good position out of the opening. Kind of liked it. I was thinking some ideas to bring the bishop on this other side of the board. But keeping it in g3 proved to be ineffective, unfortunately, because it got chased away and then the knight failed to stay on a good square, and then yeah. All right, let's see what happened in this game, because this was the one I was most interested in, between Paragua and Mackenzie Molnar. It looks like Mark has won, so let's see what happened after bishop d4. Yeah, he went for this. He went for it, my friends. Queen f4 was played. Knight g4. Knight takes b3. Oh, okay. Can you guys find the final move? White to move and win in this position after knight takes b3. One more move. Bishop e7, nope. Nope, so the thing is, like, discovered attack, right? So if you take the knight, I take the bishop, that's the whole point. It's really cute. White's final move in this position. Very nice win by Grandmaster Mark Paragua, actually. Rook e4, yeah. Kind of a cute finish, rook e4, hanging the rook, but this is GG. So, Grandmaster Molnar had to resign. It was tough. He miscalculated the sacrifice there with bishop. Bishop takes d4. It was not... well, the whole idea, I think he played here with the purpose of taking, but yeah. Unfortunately, he wasn't ready. This game ended in a draw just after the trade. I would have played more, personally, but you know me. I'm very aggressive. And then this one, the next one was won by Black. Black was getting better in this position, as I told you guys, because the bad bishop, knight was very strong. So what happened after queen c7? Not many more moves, but it's hard to understand the writing. Handwriting. Queen f2. Something. Maybe king g7, queen takes, queen c5. No. Or maybe king h1, knight f5. No. I think it was queen f2 here, sorry. Queen f2, knight f5. No. Rook f5. I'm not sure. Elshan, how are you doing? Welcome back to the stream. Regina says hi. I'm having trouble understanding the handwriting. I apologize about that. Queen f2. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to read because we have like a technical difficulty. So I'm trying to read the handwriting, but I think this is the handwriting of Grandmaster Sripunsky, and I'm having some trouble figuring out what he played. Because it says something with 5, but I don't know. Oh, Reggie, you want to say hi? Oh, Reggie says hi. She's recovering. She's a very strong cat. Okay, back to our chess. Alright, Reggie, I'm gonna put you back to bed. You wanna go by yourself? Or should I put you? Okay, I'll put you back. I'll put you back. That's okay. That's okay, sweetie. It's okay. I know you can't move much. You can't move much. Here you go. Good job. Okay. Regina is back to sleep. Alright, let's try to understand here. Something happened here. Maybe king h2, knight f5, because there's something with knight f5. And then queen f2. Or maybe king h2, knight f5, queen somewhere, queen f2, and then this was the resignation. Okay. Oh my goodness. Huh, how am I gonna put that position? Wow, current position on board 4 is gonna be hard to imagine for everyone. So, since if I change this whole thing, it's gonna mess up the entire scene. So I'm just gonna play some terrible moves to get you guys to this position, which I have no idea how it happened. But you will have to believe me that that is the position that is currently on the board. So disregard the way I'm getting there, okay? Just disregard it, please. We're just gonna make some random moves to somehow, oopsie, make it to that position, because I cannot edit. I cannot edit in this scene. So let's just pretend like this happened, and something like this happened, and then pretend like something like this happened, and then pretend like something like this happened, and then I don't know, and then pretend like something like this happened. Okay, this is the position. Forget about how I got there. This is the current position that they're having on the board. I have no idea how white ended up dropping all those pawns, obviously. Not the way I put it, but this is the current position. Okay. How did he get from this kind of position to a position where... No, because actually Grandmaster Maxime Delugi is also known for his blitz skills, so I'm not sure if you would flag him. Basically, it shows that white has 25 minutes, black has 44. And actually whose turn it is, I don't know. I think it is black's turn. Or white's. It doesn't matter whose turn it is. This looks like it's gonna be a win for Grandmaster Max Delugi. So what to do, guys? Now if I go back to another game to show you, everything will disappear. This is this is the current position that they're having, which is sad in a way, because, you know. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to save. Well, I cannot save this game, but once it's over, I'll ask them to send me the game. It might have a DGT, because the DGT still saves the game. It's just not saved on Lichess. And we'll do a recap as I go live for the next round. We'll do a recap to see, to review the games and the important moments. Maybe that's what I should do, since obviously we won't be getting any new moves. So next round starts at 6. And it's like 12:36 every day. Dr. Jamie, hi, how are you doing? So I'm thinking, why is this, by the way, for those of you if you're wondering, why is this lost? Black's up 2 pawns. No sufficient counterplay for white. I mean, you might try moving the knight, trying to get that, but I think it's going to be relatively difficult. I mean, maybe he will be able to somehow outplay his opponent, Grandmaster Andrew Tang, but I do not know. It seems difficult to deal with this pawn, because I think this is the one that black should start pushing first. With the knight in a4 is actually kind of nice, because even if, you know, white captures this pawn, right? So they capture that. They can't immediately take this. They have to kind of come like this to take it. That takes a little bit of time, during which black will have pushed the pawn even further. Yeah, he was. So every single player that you are seeing, guys, in this competition has had, you know, has been a, you know, is a legendary. Okay, maybe we cannot say about all of them that they're legendary grandmasters, but relatively you should know grandmasters. So we have Oliver Barbosa, who was born basically in the Philippines, but then he's pretty well known for, as far as I know, like for his tactical style, and he's been representing the Philippines for many years, but then he's helped coaching many of the young talents these days. Of course, Grandmaster Max Delugi, many of you know him. He's known for his you know, he was a world junior champion, I believe, and then is known for his blitz skills. He's won many many games, and also he's been coaching some of the youngest talent in the US. Grandmaster John Fedorovich. I don't know exactly what his peak was, but he has represented US at many Olympiads, and he's a renowned author and commentator. I believe he has done some commentary, and but I know he's an author and coach. Yeah, they're best friends. I don't know if they're best friends, but they're both from the Philippines. And how many of these players have I played personally? I played against Alex Linderman, and against Mackenzie Molnar. And I think that's it. I don't think I played any of the others. I've met them at various tournaments, but I don't, unless online maybe, but then I do not know all of the players that I played online. Unless I beat them, then I'll remember. But yeah, I don't believe I played against Andrew. I did interview him. I don't believe I did. I play against Grandmaster Michael Road? I don't think I played him. Belsham played him, but I didn't. Um, So yeah, GM Delugi will play anyone. Okay. The thing is that for me personally, sorry. I think I would probably I don't know. I usually don't ask people to play against them. I would probably like more like if it's more people are playing, then yeah, but otherwise just by myself I wouldn't ask. Yeah, I'm okay. I think guys, I'm gonna let you go for now. Be back at 6 p.m. I'll try to get the games set up so that we can take a look, and we'll see what has happened on this game. It'll be interesting to know the result for this one. And I hope you'll join me in about 2 hours for round 3. Until then, I'm gonna send you to, where am I gonna send you to? I think San Luis Club. You guys might want to catch up on the US Championship. I hope to see you later. Thank you so much for stopping by, for your support. Oh, it looks like Grandmaster Delugi won. But that would be... Okay. I'll try to input the moves to see how we got into this position. Thank you so much for your support, guys. See you in a few. Let me know how things are going with the US champs.